What up? This is LP. You are watching Shots Fired. Duck.
Pump this, pump this, pump this. So you should pump this shit like they do in the future. So you should pump this shit like they do in the future. So you should pump this shit like they do in the future. So you should pump this shit, pump this shit, pump this shit. So you should pump this shit like they do in the future.
I was gonna have you guys just talk about running an independent label.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Fuck, I knew there was something I was supposed to add to that list.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it, whatever.
I feel like I'm you 10 years in the past, yet in the future. A little bit less talented, but definitely, you know.
Wow,
that's
debatable.
Yeah. But you know, because you're producing it, but you know, I've started a little label and a collective, and it's hard as fuck. It's you know, it's very complicated. So I just want to hear what you got to say about running a label and everything.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I decided it wasn't really what I wanted to do anymore. But but you know, I believed in it and was very, you know, for a long time. And you know, the way I look at it right now, and the way that I sort of part of the reason why I kind of was okay putting that whole project down was because, despite all the realistic stuff, which was that it was incredibly difficult to keep going, and it was like on the razor's edge of collapse financially at all times, basically. You know, it's just like, it's such a hard grind.
You're gonna make me cry. Don't say things like that.
No, it's the truth. You need to recognize it.
No, I'm just saying because I'm going through that shit, but continue. Yeah.
And you're always in that state. And so what you find is that the only thing that keeps you going is your passion for the thing. The only thing that keeps it going.
It's like marriage, bro.
It's very hard, and especially if you start to feel the pressure of other people relying on you, and you put yourself in that position. For me,
just
it was
like marriage.
I wouldn't know, but for me, it was something that I was very dedicated to and very passionate about for a long time. And then when, you know, when Camus died, some of my energy got sucked. I'm not blaming it on that. I'm just saying there was a confluence of events. It was tough. It was tough to keep going. My friend passed away. I wasn't in a good place. I wasn't feeling, I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I think that for me, the only thing that I'm no good to anybody unless I'm like really there, unless I'm like, you know, and that's something that I just had to recognize for myself. I was like, yo, I can't do this. Like, I'm not able to do this. Like, I don't want anybody to be relying on me for this right now, because I can't. I'm no longer capable of providing that function. And beyond that, it's also, it's so difficult to keep going that if you don't have that just intense passion that like you're never gonna lose shit, then for me it was like, once that sort of went, once it was like, well, I can imagine a different type of existence where I'm just doing music and I'm not involved in this other shit, and that started to be really appealing to me. And also it was like, oh, by the way, we can't pay the rent this month, you know. And it was like, eventually I just got to the point where I just had to face the music, and not only in the reality of the business, but also in the reality of
You said face the music.
Where I was. I know
That's
I did.
tight.
That's stupid. I had to face the facts. But yeah, but that being said, I really think that labels are important. They can be important, but often what it is it's about a moment. It's not necessarily about a perpetual thing. It doesn't have to be your future forever. But if you see something strong that you can put together and you can collectively put some, you know, make some moves, and someone steps up in a leadership position, you're never going to hear me diss that. Like that, I relate to that, and I respect that. And you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to take flack, and you're also going to and you're also going to have amazing victories and amazing times. But the thing to remember, I think, for anything that you're getting into, the one thing that I think I've discovered is that you have to remember constantly, you have to check yourself every once in a while and remember what it is that you were doing in the first place. You know, are you creating a label, or just in your case, are you creating a label because you have music and you want to put it out and you think you can figure out a cool way to do it, and you can bring people up? Or are you a record label guy? And, you know, in other words, like, okay, you create this label, now all of a sudden one of the scariest things that can happen to anybody who's starting an independent record label is the shit starts to blow up. because now you got to hire more people. Now you got to do. Now you have a beast that needs to be fed. Now all of a sudden the label doesn't just exist to put the music that you already had out. All of a sudden you got to make music because the label exists.
Yeah.
And that is a tough place to be in sometimes, and not everybody, I think, can get past that. I personally got to the point where I was starting to see things where I was like, yo, we have to, what do you mean we have to put a record out this quarter? Like, I don't have a record that I feel passionately about this quarter. You know what I mean? Like, that type of shit. That was one aspect of it where I started to be like, maybe that's not for me. Beyond that, if you gave me $1 million right now, I wouldn't start a record label personally.
What would you do with $1 million right now?
Right now. Good question.
I'd probably go to the strip club immediatally.
And that's why I fuck with you. You know what I mean? It's either Sam's Hoff Bra or Dames and Games on a night like this.
Games and Dames, I went there one time. There was not nary a stripper to be had.
My homie works at Dames.
But if you have $1 million, they'll be there.
They will be there, yeah.
Grain of container could turn parade zombie. Walk with an army on me. Stalked by the harm and arbor posse. Polly's got me on a radar with a dotties. Watching, plotting, minions out of lower God's scheme. Shit hawks are bound in a town of bullet dodging. I'm a Rocky. Run 100 miles before my coffee. Shitty little stick at the grip is hitting Badolo, now we're verified. Signal lit, verified.